Howdy guys. In this video I'm going to show you how to draw using 1 point perspective. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with a basic shape. We're going to be using a square. I'll just draw this on here. So the first step of drawing a perspective is to draw the front of the object. The second step is to decide where the vanishing point is going to go and then put a little X. So I'm going to put it here and just write VP. Now the thing with the vanishing point is that you want to choose a position that isn't in line with one of the sides because it makes it more difficult, and you'll see why in a minute. The third thing we're going to be doing is we're going to use a ruler and we're going to very lightly rule in perspective lines from each corner of the object. Now the reason we do it lightly is because we're going to be rubbing these out a bit later on. So very lightly drawing back to each corner like so. Now the reason we don't need to draw back from this corner is because that that perspective line will be going behind the front of the object, and we're assuming that it's a solid object. Okay, the next step is that we need to decide how far back the 3D part is going to go. Is it going to go all the way back into the distance like this, or are we going to have it smaller? So I think for the purpose of this, we'll make it smaller, and we'll choose roughly halfway. And the way to do this is, well, the thing you have to do is you have to do a line that is on the same angle as the front of the object. Okay, so we're going to do this vertical line here, and I'm just going to slide the ruler down a bit and draw in that line. Now I know where the next line, where the horizontal line is going to go, because it's going to intersect at that point. I just need to get my ruler, slide it down and draw like that. Okay, now I need to firm up the rest of the lines of this that are solid. So that one, and that one, and use my rubber to just rub out the other perspective lines. So that's why we want to do it nice and light. And there you are. We've turned our square into a cube. Now that's all very well if you have a square object or an object with straight sides, but what are you going to do with a rounded object? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the same thing but with a circle. So this time I'm just going to freehand a circle like so. Just fix that bit up there. Okay, I'm going to follow the same steps. So my vanishing point is going to be down here somewhere, VP, and instead of this time ruling from each corner to the vanishing point, I'm going to be ruling it from the edge of the object. And the way to do that is you put your pencil on the vanishing point and you move your ruler until it hits the side of the object, and you rule a line. Same with this side, like so. And the next step you remember is we need to draw the line the same as the front of the object. So this has got a curve. That means we need to draw a curve for the 3D part. Now this is a little bit tricky. You need to kind of freehand it and just guesstimate it. And what I do is just basically kind of lightly fill in the line like that, and then just sketch it in. Now a little trick that you can do here, sometimes you can end up with quite a sharp line here. What you can do is just sort of round off the edges a little bit on those parts, like so, and that will look good like that. Okay, now what do we do if we're actually drawing an O and we have a circle in the inside of the object? Let me show you. So pretend this is an O now. Now what we need to do is, we can't see the edges because the edges go behind the object. So we're going to have a curve the same as this curve up in here somewhere. How do you know how deep to do it? Now what I do is I like to just kind of guesstimate this distance here and roughly guesstimate it here. So about that, it's about there. And then I try and follow the curve around like this. And draw it in. Now sometimes you do just need to kind of sketch that a bit just to try and get it looking logical. If you think about it in terms of two circles, you will have a circle, a smaller circle here and a larger circle here, and so when you go back to the perspective point like that, you will see this part of the object coming in like that. So you just sort of have to guesstimate where that's going to go, but that's how that works. Now what we're going to do for the purpose of learning how to draw letters in 3D in 1-point perspective is I'm going to get you to do a curve, okay? Curve goes like this, just a rough curve in your page, and I'm going to get you to write your name on the curve, okay? So I'm going to write Mr. Mac, so I want you to use nice strong block letters. Mr. And all of the bottoms of the letters need to touch the line. Like so. Okay, now we're going to have our vanishing point down here in the middle of the curve, somewhere down in the middle of the curve. And we're going to rule lines from the bottom of every letter. Okay, I'll just speed this up so you can see it all happening. Okay, now we also have some points that we need to mark in that are above that line, and so let's work those out now. We have part of the C, so we need to do this part. Now the thing about this is we can just stop it there where it goes down, so we don't need to go on top of the letter. Now remember, with the C we need to capture the side of it as well, so just go there like that. There's also the bottom of the A, the inside of that A point. Okay, now that one won't, because if you look at it, it's actually in line with the letter. Same with these ones, we can't see those. We can see the R. So you can see I can just move my ruler around and just check to see whether or not I can see any lines. That looks good. Okay, once you've done all the perspective lines, the next step is to decide roughly how far back do you want the 3D part to go. Now what I'm going to do for this is just do a kind of very light curve like this, similar to that line, and that's going to give me a clue as to the depth of the 3D part. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to firm up the line. So this line here is along the curve, so that one's going to be the same there, this line and this line. So just go along and just darken up all of the base lines, like so. Okay, and now what we need to do is follow the curve. Oh, we will be able to see the inside of this M. Just get that one. And that means we'll be able to see the inside of that M as well. Just. So if you can notice here with the A, that this line goes across and then on that angle. So I'm just going to go across and then I'm going to hit on that angle, try and copy that angle to there, which gives us that line going across at the same angle there. And you should be able to look at it. This is the thing with perspective. You should be able to look at it and just see that it looks basically right. Okay, this one here is going down like that. That curve is happening there, and then the same angle there. Okay, this curve here. You can use your ruler if you like. You can use that ruler. So get the angle and then move it up, so you can kind of get that bit right. See the angle on the M, we move it down to that point, and the same with that side, and there we go. Now remember, what we need to do with the C is the curve comes to here. That point there will be there, so that is going to be curving down here and around. And you just need to really guess that. Now, the depth of that 3D part is going to be kind of deeper than, or it might just show. We'll put that in just so you can see what will happen. That needs to be on the same angle as this front line here. Okay, but we won't see any of these other 3D parts because they're too small. Okay, so the next step is we now need to rub out some of our perspective lines because they're getting in the way. Like so. And you can see that the letters now look really cool, look really 3D. And what I'm going to do, just to enhance the 3Dness of them, is I'm going to add some tone, and I'll speed it up, but you can notice that when I'm adding tone, I'm going to be making it darker where it goes behind letters and inside gaps. Okay, so let's do this. So this is the completed drawing now with the tone added, and you can see that I've used the vanishing point as a light source so that the lighter tones are on the bottom of the image, which just helps it to make it stand out and helps with the perspective of the image.